Hello, everybody. Well, it's Miss Francine. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Why do I have a grown-ups book on the Nanny Franny Reads to Young Children and Their Favorite Grown-ups channel? This is a grown-ups book in the library. Kids can read it, but it's in the, it doesn't have a J on top. It doesn't have a YA on top. It certainly doesn't have E for easy reader. Nothing like that, or JE. It is a book that is mostly for grown-ups or maybe teenagers. Craftfulness is a great book in time for Valentine's Day. And the reason I have it is because in doing these web casts on YouTube about reading to young children and starting them off with a love of language and literature and ideas, and keeping that going throughout their elementary school years, well, I want the parents, the dads as well as the moms, to enjoy and let themselves relax. And reading to your kids may not seem like your favorite way to unwind after a busy, hectic day of work and other responsibilities, but it can be. But this Craftfulness book, it really talks a lot about, well, crafting can be another means of relaxing and letting your mind wander and letting yourself meditate while you move, just your hands move, making stitches like I did on this blanket. Don't want to share too much of this blanket because it's a surprise, but I just kind of got carried away and did a little more stuff over here. So it kind of puckers, but it's nice and warm. Actually, I can give it away. It's too crazy a blanket shape to keep for anybody, but that's okay because it's nice and heavy and I like it. And I'll start another one for my friend. But anyway, I have until next Christmas, Hanukkah season to do the other blanket. Meanwhile, Craftfulness is it's just, I think, a wonderful book for Valentine's Day where you give yourself a little love because it's after the hustle and bustle of the December holidays. And I'll just read you something from here, the little passage that I really like. Oh, bookmarks so many. The big ideas tend to appear when we are least expecting or prepared for them. I'm reading from the book. And often when we are not striving for solutions, not actively doing, but rather when we allow the mind to wander. You might find inspiration while staring at tea bags in the supermarket, cleaning the bath, knitting, bookbinding, sewing, mending, or weaving on a mini loom. Craft helps us to slow down, to relax and breathe. Of course, it doesn't say, it says later on in the book, maybe craft is not your thing either, but finding something that lets your mind wander. Like they said earlier, cleaning the bath or staring at tea bags in the supermarket or whatever works for you and doesn't, and is harmless to others. And maybe if your kids are having trouble relaxing, maybe they could try doing something that calms the mind, something other than a video game or TV, but something hands-on, maybe a craft for kids. I have some in some books I'm going to show you. But I want to read, before I show you the first craft book and get into Valentine's Day, I want to read a little more just of this page. The benefits of a regular craft practice, not for money necessarily, but just practicing a craft, do not cease having an impact the second you put down your tools and head off to the day job either. We have found that our making of things has made us much more self-assured and creative in every part of our lives, more awake and concentrated. And after a morning spent in the pottery studio, Rosemary, one of the authors of this book, Rosemary Davidson, along with Arzu Tamsin, Rosemary knows now that she returns to editing a tricky passage in a manuscript with more zip and positive energy. It's as though the batteries have been fully charged while she was working on the clay coils. Arzu loves losing herself in bookbinding. The attention that is required when working on the file detail is all enveloping. And usually, before the last book is removed from the press, she has always found that new ideas will already be starting to take shape. Now, I hope that parents and caregivers won't think that craftfulness is just for women and girls. There are many different kinds of craftfulness, and men throughout history have done things like woodworking and scrimshaw. Of course, my grandpa was interested in trying needlepoint. I think my grandma taught him. And there's no reason a man can't do any of these things, or that a woman, for that matter, can't do woodworking or, heavy ceramics or heavy-duty sewing of things like sails on a canvas or, industrial kind of stuff, maybe just for personal use, make, I don't know, stuff with the 3D printer, whatever. But grown-ups, I want for you to relax, enjoy the time with your children, and if your children are draining, maybe teach your children ways to relax. So, if stories themselves don't relax kids, well, I did say that it was Lunar New Year. We have some paper crafts for Chinese New Year that I'll get back to later. But these are good for older kids, and younger kids might just enjoy something like paper folding or coloring. I want to see what kinds of... yeah, there's a paper dragon puppet, and I'm sure it'll look very good at the end. Let me turn the page. Yeah, this is just one example of the crafts you find in here. But this is a channel all about reading to kids from the time that they are little tiny babies. And so with that in mind, I have a book review here for February, really good stuff. But I want to start out with some books for babies. I have Baby I Love You by Karma Wilson, illustrated by Sam Williams. And it's from the creators of the best-selling Baby Cakes. And it's got I think that's a girl on it, so I also picked one with a boy. And this also might be a good one for beginning readers. Ben Loves Bear by David McPhail, a very famous children's writer. Men can write for children and do crafts. Again, March is coming up, and it's going to be International Women's Day, and it really is a day to say that anybody can do pretty much anything if they want and put their minds to it. Now, I'm going to come back and read the baby through preschool books here. Baby, I Love You and Ben Loves Bear are books that I think are good for anybody from babies through preschool, and anyone older than that who can still enjoy them too. There is really no upper or lower age limit on books if you love them. It's just like anything else that you love.